Video B. Create your own databases. Creating your own databases is as easy as creating lists. A special feature is that New does not differentiate between folders and databases. First, you create a new item in the selected folder. Whether this is a folder or a database is determined by its use. A folder does not contain any entries, only sub-entries. If you now right-click on the empty field of the folder and create a new entry there, the folder becomes a database, recognizable by the changed symbol. If you delete the entry again, the database becomes a folder again. First, we create a folder, Examples, and take a closer look at the Properties window. You can also open this window by double-clicking on it. Again, the context menu that you open with the right mouse button should be mentioned. At the top left, you can restrict the database or the entire folder for specific client types. This is only displayed during the analysis if the client has the appropriate type. For example, if you create a database specifically for animals, you can deactivate all other types here. You can also restrict gender-specific databases for men and women. In almost all cases, you can leave this setting unchanged. The title is the name that appears in the database tree. The description serves primarily for source and copyright information. The optimization set is a set that precedes the desired state entry when it is loaded into a list. When I load the entry into a list, the optimization set is before it. This allows you to prefix each entry with an adjustment sentence. In the background information field, you can enter text that you want to include, but that are too long or too general to be included in the regular text. Here are 3 examples of how this field is used. The first entry is about special information, which should anchor the information of the entry more precisely in the information field. The text is very technical and interferes with the presentation. In the second case, it is the instruction for a meditation that can be performed in addition to the TimeWaver optimization. In the third case, it is explanatory background information on the entry. If you deactivate the box for background information, the list is much clearer. This applies in particular to the expression. There's a difference between this list and this list. If you enter an optimization set or background information in a folder, these are placed in front of the entries when you load them into a list. Here we have entered both in the Examples folder, also in the database. The finished entry looks like this in a list. These windows are primarily used to group redundant text in the databases in one place, which makes the database entries considerably slimmer. In most cases, you will leave these entries empty, except for the optimization set of the database itself, as we will see in a moment. We can also neglect the settings under Options for now. I will now create our first database in the Favorites folder. I call this database Home Remedies, and in it I collect all possible remedies as a virtual medicine chest. I add an optimization phrase that specifically addresses the supportive effect of the remedies. Since the database does not yet contain an entry, it is displayed as a folder. Click in the right window and then on New Entry to start filling it. This window is almost identical to a list entry. My first remedy is an alcoholic propolis extract, which I bought from a hobby beekeeper at a Brazilian market. This is an excellent remedy for injuries and inflammation that I will probably never find again, but I can permanently preserve its information and vibration. In desired state, I write the name of the product, and in desired state description, I write its effect. The present state fields are not needed here, nor is the background information. I add a photo of the bottle and record the vibration patterns, and the first entry is done. Instead of clicking on OK, I can create a new entry here. This is a Vaseline-based propolis ointment from the same beekeeper. Then I have a homemade moisturizing calendula ointment, which I once received as a gift from a friend. The label is no longer legible, but this unique specimen also finds its permanent place in my virtual medicine cabinet. And fourth, I have a herbal immune stimulant that's not available on the market anymore. There's not even a label, and the bottle is empty. Nevertheless, the information and vibration is present. I finished my first database. I can now use it for analysis or load it manually into a list. This is how the database looks in print. And this is how the entries appear in a list. I move the new database to the folder Tutorial Examples and show another detail from the options. When I add the entries to a list, they look like this. The database path is unnecessarily long because it contains the name of the higher level databases. With this option, you can change this. If you remove the check mark at Copy Name to List and additionally remove the optimization set, the path is much clearer and also more meaningful because the path is also part of the information sent. Parts of the path name, which are only used to organize the database, should therefore always be hidden so that the information sent is as concise as possible. With the optimization set and the option to copy the folder names specifically into the path or not, you can control the information that is transferred into the list. This considerably enhances your databases. In the next video, we will show you two practical tools with which you can also create extensive databases quickly and easily. For now, I suggest that you also create your first custom folder and create a database of your choice with at least 5 entries. Load photos and vibration patterns and try out the possibilities offered by the optimization kit. When designing the text, keep it to a minimum so that the entries remain as clear as possible. In general, the following principle applies in dealing with the information field. As much information as necessary, as little information as possible. In particular, make sure that the desired state describes as clearly and precisely as possible what the information in this entry is intended to achieve.